Welcome to today's session. I am super excited, especially because I am bearing with gifts. Today is going to feel like Christmas for you because of what I am going to share with you in this session. And I am only going to share it with the women who are on here live, okay? So unfortunately, if you are watching the replay, I am so sorry, but I really just wanted to reward. Hi, Alice. Welcome to the live. I really just wanted to reward the women who have joined live, who have taken time out of their day to pause and really listen to what it takes to make a corporate exit successful, like what it actually takes practically as well as from the mindset perspective. Okay, so I have dropped the gift in the chat room and I'll just keep dropping it in because I recognize that some of you will join later. So, what I have just shared is the one and only corporate exit planning workbook, the 50 Monday corporate exit planning workbook. Okay, and I only share this with my clients. So, I took an executive decision that I am going to share this with you as my gift to you for staying on here, staying committed to yourself, and really, wanting to show up for the life that we cast, that vision that we cast on Monday, and for the small part on Tuesday as well. Okay. So, dive into the corporate exit planning workbook, the 50 Monday corporate exit planning workbook. It is gold. Like it literally tells you every single week what to do. Okay. So I put this together with my, the recordings that I've done from this workshop, and I put it in my custom GPT as well as every single thing it knows about me and my clients. And I asked it to like put this timeline together. So you can try and do this yourself on ChatGPT, but it's not going to give you in as much detail and precision as what I have put together for you. And I also made some like edits because we all know AI is not always the most accurate thing. And I just added in certain things that I did that I found very helpful when I was, making my way out, even though I had a very accelerated exit. Okay. So it's called the Rich Woman 50-Week Corporate Exit Workbook. The link is in the chat room, and yeah, play around with it. And at the end of the workbook, I have also put in 100 different ways to create income without starting a business. I think you all know that I am very passionate about making sure that as a corporate woman, you realize that you have infinite choice and option. Starting a business is not, actually, it is not what I would even advise you do, right? And it is not what I thought that that was going to be my pathway to replacing my income, but it turns out that it wasn't. Okay. So this is what the Rich Woman 50-Week Corporate Exit Workbook is, or 50 Monday. Let me just change this here. But basically, it tells you every single Monday, this is what you're going to do, and this is how you're going to check in with yourself at the end of each phase. So it's split into 5 phases. And I really want you to trust that the phases have been put in the right order. Okay, so don't jump between one phase and another. My mentor always says, if you only just accepted and if you only just took full ownership for the phase you were in, you would go so much faster. Okay, so don't try to go to phase 4 and you haven't even like done the work to get clarity and direction on how you want your corporate exit to look like, when you want to do it, what other income ideas you have put down together. Okay, so it is put in order very intentionally. And so there are prompts at the end of each phase, which you can continue doing. Actually, I would encourage you to do this like while you are working on while you are working on each exit action step. And each exit action step per week is set up in such a way that you can do this in 2 hours or less. Okay. So I am not telling you to do something that is going to like literally become a second job. You don't have time for that. I know that because I was you once. I am sharing with you a roadmap that you can literally take and without having to second guess, what do you need to do, when, why, how? Literally just follow what I have put together for you, and you are bound to come out right. Okay. And then you'll find the bonus at the end, 50 ways to make money without starting a business. Like there are so many different things you can do, honestly. And yeah, it's really, really fun. And you can use that as an ideation sort of tool to get going. Okay, I don't know why it is showing my email. Excuse me for that. Oh, it's because I presented my entire screen. All right. So I would appreciate if you could just confirm that you can see my screen. I forgot to ask that earlier. I realized that I need to get into the habit of asking that because it is really painful when you put in so much effort and so much planning and preparation, and then the slides are not showing. Like, I do not want that to happen again. And so just let me know if you can see my screen at least. And I'm going to go ahead and present in, just say yes if you can see the screen in the chat. That's enough for me. Okay, perfect. All right. So we are on day 4. It is incredible how fast these challenges go. Like we just started day, it's still like fresh in my mind how we started day 1 just the other day, and we are already on day 4. Like how incredible is that? I hope you have had a fantastic time watching, and team replay, I am with you. I know I am only sharing this gift with the ladies who are here live, but you have access to the replays. You have access to the other worksheets that I shared with you for day 1 and day 2, as well as your homework for day 3. You can check the email that I sent yesterday. So you have access to everything. It's just that this gift that I had committed to sharing was only for the women who are going to come here on live. Okay. All right. Okay, so we started with, just mapping out what the corporate exit could look like, really vision casting and helping you step into what this reality could look like, because that is so important as part of your planning a corporate exit. Like so many people don't even take enough time to think about what life is going to look like and feel like. And when you don't do that, it then becomes more of like a transactional thing that you're working towards and you're not feeling into it. And then it becomes very mundane and, challenges can easily set you back. So it's so important to cast the vision for yourself of what do you want your life to look like when there are no corporate strings attached. Then we talked about why human design is such an important tool if you want to make a successful and a fast corporate exit. The fastest way to your corporate exit is not starting a business. It is understanding your human design and aligning your decisions for your corporate exit with your human design. Okay. And on day 3, I went deeper into human design. We looked at the different profiles. We looked at what are potential income ideas for different human design types. So definitely watch day 1 and day 3 to like dig more into human design and do your human design test as well. The link is in the replays for day 3. So all you need to do is just click on that YouTube, the YouTube video, and you will see the link to do your human design assessment, which is literally like a 30-second thing. You literally just open the link, put your birth data, and it will tell you what your human design is. So today we are talking about the plan. okay? We are talking about putting this thing in motion and what this really looks like, okay? Before I go into the 50 Monday corporate exit plan, I want to talk about the Human Design Corporate Exit Intensive because some of you have been asking. There is a special link to book at the 50% discount or at the 47. Is it 47? I keep mixing it up. It's actually $49, but I don't think anyone is going to hold me to a $2 difference. But basically it is at a 50% discount and that special ends tonight. Okay. Thursday, 24th of July is the last day to book your corporate exit plan. Okay, so make sure you, corporate exit plan, your Human Design Corporate Exit Intensive. So if anything that I have shared this week, particularly yesterday and day 2, where we talked about mapping your freedom number, where we talked about how it's so important that you understand, your capital inventory as you plan for how you're going to replace your income, what sort of active income sources you are going to explore. The Human Design Corporate Exit Intensive is where I take your human design and I take the blueprints I have shared with you and we put them together and make it personalized for you. Okay. Self-awareness in this journey of your corporate exit is a non-negotiable. If you pay to go to the gym, there is no excuse why you shouldn't be getting yourself a Human Design Corporate Exit Intensive. This is as important, if not more important. Self-awareness is way more important than taking care of your body. Because when you live in a high self-awareness state, guess what happens? You automatically also even take better care of your body. All right. But if you truly want to accelerate your corporate exit, I am definitely not going to give this intensive at this price point again. So this is something special I am offering to each one of the 47 incredible women who signed up for this challenge. All right. So why is today important? Why is the 50 Monday corporate exit plan? And I keep like interchanging the name. I'll call it the 50 Monday corporate exit plan. Why is that important? Okay. One of my favorite writers or quote sayers, Benjamin Franklin, says, by failing to prepare, you are preparing to fail. All right. So if you are not in preparation mode and you are still in dream mode, but you want this exit to happen, it is going to be really, really difficult for it to happen. But again, you are also setting yourself back, right? And your plan, like I shared with you yesterday, your plan might not play out in reality exactly as planned, but guess what? You will be so much more prepared for the challenges that lay ahead, for pivots that you might need to make if you do have something on paper. And studies have also shown that people who write their goals down are so much more likely. I don't have the exact percentage. I think it was something ridiculous, like 50% more likely to achieve their goals than those who don't. So this is something that's really, really important. Okay. So do not underestimate the power of a plan. And that is why I have shared the 50 Monday Corporate Exit Workbook with you all ladies who are joining me live. Okay. So what does this corporate exit journey look like practically? You want to make sure that you have mapped your ideal timeline to leave corporate, of course. You want to clarify your vision. For me, the vision was so straightforward. It was so clear what I wanted to achieve. And that is really, for me, that was like the final nail on the coffin that made this, yes, a hell yes for me. This is time for me to enter into my next chapter, my next step, my next journey, right? And my vision was I want to live in alignment with my values every single day. I do not want to wait until the weekend to live in alignment with my values. And many times the weekends would even be hijacked by work. Okay. You want to know your freedom number. All right. You want to have full clarity on the number that you are working towards. Like I shared just a few seconds ago, people who have something that they are target are more likely to achieve that target than people who are just working with like an open mind and not really something concrete that they are working towards. Like, how will you know that you have achieved this corporate exit milestone if you do not know your freedom number? So go back to day 2. If you haven't, do the freedom number calculation. It's going to be so, so important in you really mapping out how long is this going to take, ideally or practically, for you to make this an option. Okay. Then you want to choose your income vehicle. Now, yesterday we talked all about different income strategies. I showed you how there are three main sources of creating income. Many people think it's just about, starting a business. I shared with you how you can create scalable offers. You can become a fractional corporate sort of contractor. You can do consulting services with value-based outcomes as opposed to charging for your time. Okay. You can do freelancing work. I mean, the freelancing world out there is so vast. You could put yourself out on Upwork or Fiverr, and next week someone will have paid you for a specific skill set. The most important thing is you know what those skill sets are, and you are also willing to explore. But again, you need to make sure that you are, whatever income option you've chosen or income stream, it's in alignment with your human design. So check yesterday out because I went through the 12 different public roles or profiles, and I shared with you, I gave you some hints on like what to explore next when it comes to what you could possibly be doing to create active income outside of your corporate job or once you leave your corporate job. And then you want to build your visibility runway. All right, you might have the best skill set in the world on a very specific thing, but if people don't know you, if people do not know that you have that skill set, you will not be able to monetize it. So people need to see you, people need to experience you. You might even need to give, people some quick wins or something to make them feel like, yes, they would actually want to pay you more. All right. And so it is important that you're building that visibility runway. And you can start to do this way before you're ready to leave your corporate job. Okay. Instagram is a great place to start building your visibility runway if you are sure of what skill sets it is you want to sort of explore and monetize. I would stay away from LinkedIn if I was you, because LinkedIn is seen as sort of the corporate capital of social media. And more likely than not, your corporate colleagues are going to be there, and it could create unnecessary conflict. Even if what you are doing is totally like there's no problem doing it, it could create unnecessary conflict. All right. So try and, put yourself out in, social media channels where you feel safe and you don't feel like it will be taken against you in your corporate job. Okay. We don't want to sabotage your corporate job unnecessarily. And I say this because I am sharing this from my learned experience, right? The minute I went onto LinkedIn, that was when like things started to unravel behind the scenes and when I started to fall out sort of with management unnecessarily. But as long as I was on Instagram, no one really cared. Like no one really cared. Okay, so just something to be aware of. Just really audit where could you possibly be like rubbing feathers the wrong way unnecessarily, right? And sabotaging your current corporate income before you've even replaced it. All right. Let me know if you have any questions. Hi, Helena. So good to see you in here today. Before we continue and really break down this corporate exit map or timeline. And let me share the link again. So for those of you who are joining us live, you get access to the 50 Monday Corporate Exit Planning Workbook. And I've just shared it there. And inside, there's a bonus on 100 ways to make money without starting a business post-corporate. All right. So I cannot stress the importance of clarifying your vision. Many people are running away from a corporate job because of what it represents. Maybe the environment has changed, but I don't want you to just think about what you are running away from or what you are leaving from. I want you to also think about what are you leaving for or where are you going? So don't just think about where you are coming from. Think about what lays ahead, you know? What could this life possibly look like for you? What lays ahead? What is it that you want to, how is it that you want to be living that your corporate job is not able to provide for you? Maybe you are really tired of back-to-back Teams calls on a Monday. I know I was. Maybe you just want to have slow mornings and do your best work in the afternoons. Maybe you want to be there for your children and be there to do the pickups or the school drop-offs without the stress that you have to run back to the house or to the office to take your first meeting. So write down what this looks like. And I want you to also get emotionally clear. All right. And when I say emotionally clear, what I mean is think about future memories that represent this corporate liberation. So for me, one of the future memories I always went back to were an empty calendar on a Monday. Like literally a free calendar with no meetings, me just being able to step into my Monday and do work without the disturbance of other people and do it wherever I wanted to. Okay. That was one of the future memories I had created and I had even written down in my script. This is an exercise I teach my clients to do. And by the way, I am doing another giveaway tomorrow. So if you want to get access to my mindset course on corporate exit, make sure you join tomorrow live because I'm going to be choosing from one of you who are live and we're going to do a random sort of pick on one of these randomizers on the internet. And one of you is going to get access to that course, which is $500. Okay. So that's where I talk about self-scripting. I talk about visualizing. I talk about the identity work and the importance of doing that work as you do the practical planning, which is what we're talking about today. Okay, so that's the first thing you want to do. The step number 2 is audit your capital inventory. Now, we talked about this on day 2, but this is so important in the context of while you are still in your corporate job, because you might have other sources of capital that you may not have necessarily actively thought of. Okay, so I've given you some ideas here. So you might even have a clause in your corporate contract that allows you to negotiate a severance package after working a certain number of years. So instead of just resigning, you might have the option to wait for 1 or 2 years or 3 years and then negotiate a severance package that gives you even more than if you just resign and quit cold turkey. Okay. There might be a voluntary retirement package coming. So look at what are the signs are there signs written on the wall that you can look into? Are there people in HR that maybe that can share insight with you on what the leadership is planning? All right. Because the last thing you want to do is resign, and then a month later, there's a voluntary early retirement package, which you could have taken advantage of. And then if you are changing jobs, or if this is truly the last job that you ever want to work for, start investigating, like, what are your pension liquidation offers? This is an easy source of capital that is available to each and every one of us who has an employer that has been, voluntarily contributing towards a pension fund. And most of us should have that. Okay. So you can access, I think it's up to 50% of that pension fund, but there are only 2 times when you can access it: when you're alive, when you are changing jobs, or when you are resigning and not going into another employment contract. Okay. So this is not something that you can do anytime. I don't think you can even do it now while you are still in the job. I think you might be able to do it, but like up to 20% or 30%, if I'm not mistaken, or even not possible at all. But there's that one time when you have that option to liquidate your pension fund. And I want you to take advantage of that. So start, investigating what other options available to you. All right. So go through your contract. There might be other clauses in your contract that you can take advantage of when you are timing your corporate exit. Okay. For example, there might be a once-off bonus, or there might be an option to buy shares after 5 years of working in the company. And you may be 3 years in and you're thinking, well, it serves me to just work another 2 years and unlock this option to buy these shares. And then I can start, really, really intentionally working my way out. Everyone will have a different setup, will have a different set of circumstances depending on your corporate employment contract and your corporate employer. Okay. Any questions so far? Anything that is interesting that you are learning for the first time? Hey, Juliet, so good to see you in here. Anything that you want to clarify, please just drop it in the chat. And I am more than welcome to answer it at the end of today's call. Or actually as we go along, depending on what feels more relevant to do. Okay, so you also want to set up your money system. All right. Now, this is an area where many people think that they have set their money systems up. And then when I ask them, okay, show me your separate investment account, show me your separate reserve account, they're like, oh, well, it's all here in my main transactional account. Okay, you want to have systems that allow you to easily track how your investments are moving, how your freedom fund is moving, and any other reserves that you want to set up for yourself to comfortably make the corporate exit happen. And the easiest way to do this is to literally just set up separate bank accounts. Okay, so you could go to your current bank and ask them to create like secondary accounts, and you can then set up automated transfers to your investment account, your freedom fund account, or your reserve account from your main transactional account. But you really want to keep things separate, because that's how you're going to be able to track, and that's how you're also going to make sure that that money is not then being redirected to something else that comes up urgently. All right. How many of us, myself included, like I'm going to be the first one to raise my hand, have had strong intentions to save. And then because you haven't set up these systems, something comes up and then you end up spending that money and you go back to square one. We don't want that in this case. We want you to be moving forward every single week. There needs to be something that you have jotted down, and you'll see that in the 50 Monday corporate exit plan. There needs to be a way for you, and I've given you my advice on how to track your progress, but progress is really, really important. Even if it's you saved an extra $100, even if you are able to put in an extra 5% this month into your freedom fund. It adds up. Do not wait until you have a big unexpected cash flow to start setting up your money system, to start setting up your freedom fund. Start small. Do not have that all or nothing mindset, because that is what sabotages people's ability to actually leave corporate. Then if they just took ownership for where they were and also took ownership for, or bought into or believed in the concept of 1%. If you do 1% more or better next week than you did this week, that's progress. So start tracking your income replacement on a month-by-month basis. Okay, so every single month, at the end of the month, take some time to look at that freedom number worksheet. Look at the bank accounts you've set up. What is the gap looking like? How can you maybe speed things up, right? Where have you maybe not been as consistent as you'd want to be? If you're not doing this audit, if you are not doing this reflection, then self-accountability becomes really hard to impose and execute. Of course, if you have someone else checking in with you, like a mentor or a coach, it becomes much easier. But if you are doing this yourself, this is a non-negotiable. Looking at your numbers constantly, at least on a weekly basis. Okay? Okay. We talked about building your income vehicle in a lot of detail yesterday, but as I mentioned, this depends on your human design, all right? The path you are going to choose and even how you are going to execute building your income vehicle is very much dependent on your human design. Now, you can go against the grain. You can go against yourself. You can decide to implement someone else's blueprint, but the problem is it might not be sustainable. It might not be sustainable for your energy type. Okay? So make sure you're keeping an open mind and trust that the right opportunities will present themselves. Trust that you are on the right path, unless you are a manifester who actually initiates and creates opportunities internally. For the rest of us, we need to trust that the right opportunities will come through. Okay? You want to also lean into your human design, because this is where you will start to see where you are maybe, where you maybe need to explore on different income options versus someone who really actually just needs a plan and system and to focus on one income stream at a time before they try something else. It's part of your human design. You might be someone who is multidimensional, who actually needs to be working 2 to 3 different income streams before deciding which one they're going to specialize in. So lean into your human design to make these observations. Okay? Systems versus free for all. A projector like me in human design, I thrive off of systems. I thrive off of processes. And I might not necessarily enjoy creating them, but I know that that is my best way to work. And so that is how I have set up the business, and I'm continuing to do like fine-tuning behind the scenes to make sure that I have systems that support me even when I want to take time off. Hint, hint, I'm actually planning a sabbatical for the rest of the year, and I'm really excited about it because this is the first time in over a decade that I have taken this much time off. Okay. And I had planned to open up a mastermind. That's what I wanted to do. And then the last 2 weeks, something has just been telling me that I need to step back. I need to take some time off for myself. And so I'm excited for that. And I'm excited for the systems that I'm building behind the scenes to allow me to do that. So by the way, If you do want to work with me in some way or form, I am limiting. I think I had like 3 spots at the start of this month. I am limiting my one-on-one clients. And so the intensive is the best way to do that. Otherwise, we can regroup in the new year. And I'm sure your goals, you don't want to wait until the new year to do that. So grab the intensive, which is still at $49, by the way, until midnight tonight. Okay. Because I am only going to be working with a very limited number, 3 at most. And I think there's like one, just waiting for confirmations from some women, 1 or 2 slots left. Okay. Why did I talk about that? All right, because I was talking about systems versus free for all, right? So a manifesting generator, for example, might feel that systems are actually holding them back, and they might want to work from a place of like freedom, from a place where they're allowed to really, let go and allow their creativity to be expressed in all ways and forms. Whereas someone like me, a projector in human design, really needs to have those systems anchored to allow me to work efficiently, to allow me to even think of, this option where I can even take time off completely from the business to spend time on other projects and, to really have that time off for myself and for my family. Okay. So number 5 is building visibility before you leave, okay? Do not wait until you leave before you start building visibility of your income runway. So by the time you are putting in your resignation letter, you should already have an income path set up. You might not be making money from it, but you should already have clarity, or if you're a manifesting generator, maybe you have 2 or 3 income paths set up, but you are not waiting until you leave to start thinking of, oh, now what do I do? Okay. That is not the rich woman way. And you will see that very clearly baked in to the rich woman 50 Monday corporate exit plan. I keep forgetting the name, which I am just sharing here again for anyone who hasn't grabbed the link already. Okay. So you want to make sure you're building visibility about what it is that you're doing. So let's say you want to do freelancing work. And ladies, there is no shame, because remember, in this new chapter of your life, your identity is not tied to your title. Your identity is tied to your worth, who you are on the inside, not your title, not how much money you make, not how people, refer to you in the office, none of that. So do not dismiss certain ideas because they feel like they are less than. There are freelancers who are making over $100,000 a year in this gig economy. There are freelancers who are making way more than you're making in your corporate job with your big title. So let go of this notion that it needs to feel fancy, that you need to have a really nice title with it. You don't. You absolutely don't. No one cares. People just want to pay you for the skills that you have, for your lived experiences. If you are a profile 6 in human design, for your stories. If you are a 2-4 like me in human design in your profile. All right. So do not dismiss certain ideas or income pathways because they feel like, the name just feels less than. There's nothing less than in this, in all the ideas, all the 100 ideas that I've shared with you in that document. All right. So you want to build visibility before you leave. So think your current network, people who know you. Like literally go after this if you're really serious about this. And I think it's one of the 100 things on the list. Go and look at your contact list. Pick out 20 people from your current contact list on your phone that you can drop a message and be like, hey, there's something I'm doing. I would love to share it with you. And if you know anyone who might be interested in, I would love if you could like pass it on to them or share their contact if that's something that you can do for me. Okay. So before you even go onto social media, the big wild world out there, lean into your current connections as well. And obviously practice discernment in who you're sharing this with, because you don't want it to bite you in the back in your corporate role. Okay. Okay. So you want to really create a simple positioning plan of the expertise that you want to monetize. Okay. So, you can start creating case studies maybe of how you've used this expertise in the past, or how you've helped someone, or even how you have applied it in your current corporate role. Of course, by all means, exercising confidentiality, but case studies are really great ways of showcasing how you've created impact in the past. Right? Because this is not your first rodeo, all right? By all means, you want to harvest the expertise you've created from your current corporate job, even if it's just characteristics of like who you've had to be successful in your corporate job. Harvest those experiences, harvest that expertise. All right. So you want to start showing up as the woman you're becoming. And this is where it becomes very interesting. Because when you start showing up as the woman you're becoming, guess what? You become detached to your corporate job. You are no longer like so maniacally focused on how this performance review needs to play out, what the next pay raise needs to be like. And guess what? The people you work with, the people you report to are going to catch wind on that. And it's going to make them feel insecure because you're going to show up more bolder than ever before. And inadvertently, you could even create more income in that corporate job because you're showing up from a place of, I do not need your validation for me to succeed, for me to do my job. I know what I am here to do. I know the value that I bring to the table, and I am bringing it here regardless of what you think about me, regardless of the performance review rating that you gave me 2 months ago. You are going to show up so differently to how many women show up. Clearly, I can even see it in their face and demeanor, showing up at the mercy of a paycheck, at the mercy of a job, at the mercy of a boss. No, no more, no more, no more, ladies. We are not doing that anymore. Okay. And that instantly, like I said, shoots up your perceived value even in the workplace. And you want to maximize that, which brings me to my next slide here. Oh, it's actually the last one. Oh, I'm going to talk about self-awareness, but I want to talk about this first. Maybe I should have put this as number 6. But you don't want to resign like unstrategically, right? You want to maximize the income you can make from your corporate job. So one of the things I did when I made director is I negotiated a separate package for me that was based on my performance. And guess how I was able to buy the 3 properties that I bought before I left my corporate job? Guess where the down payments from him came from? From the bonuses that I negotiated. Okay. So your corporate job, I want you to also see it as seed capital, as a source of capital. Don't just look at it as, I need to get out of here as soon as possible. Look for opportunities to maximize how much you can make while you are on your way out. No one is going to care regardless, because the company you work for right now is going to move on with or without you. So you might as well be strategic around your exit window and around what you're doing between now and that exit window to maximize your income. Okay, so strategically, you obviously do not want to resign during a bonus payout season or performance review season. it makes sense to stay until the end of a performance year and then resign after they have either given you their pay raise letter or the bonus letter, because when you have the letter, they are obligated to pay you. All right. So you want to make the timing strategic for you. You don't want to work an entire year and then you don't earn what is due to you that year because you resigned before they declared the bonuses for the year. All right. You also want to look at what is happening in your life. So if it is a really busy time, let me give you an example. Let's say you know that you have there's a health issue that you are navigating, and potentially you might need to go in for like a planned surgery. Or maybe you're expecting, like you would rather just wait, stay in, have your 3 months of maternity leave paid by your corporate employer, and then work your way out. All right. So you want to be very strategic around the timing and based on what is happening in your life. Okay. You also want to think before. This is one of my biggest learning lessons, because I was just like, I am going straight into making money. Like, I am not even going to give myself time out. Like, I was just like, I am going straight into the next thing. And that was a learning lesson for me. And if I were to do this again, I would definitely take time off. I would probably, if I were to resign again, I would give myself a good 6 months time out to really just rejuvenate myself, reflect, and get ready for my next season. That doesn't mean I am not doing any work at all, but it does mean that I am resting more than I am working. And when I left, like, I just went head into the next thing. And now it's like such a sort of, full circle moment, because now I am going, like, I'm doing things the other way around. Now is when I am going into this sabbatical that I've been sharing with you, or that I shared with you earlier. And I honestly think it would have been so much more effective if I did it when I left. So do not feel guilty if you want to take some time for yourself off after you leave. You do not have to jump into the next thing, especially if you have executed the plan that I've shared with you. Like, if you take this workbook and you follow it through every single Monday, you know what you are going to work on towards your corporate exit. In 52 Mondays, there is no reason why you should not be ready to leave and be able to comfortably take 3 months off without worrying about where money will come from. Okay. So that's definitely something that I would say is something that I wish I would do differently, for sure. And also, if you're in the process of getting financing, so for me, I strategically made sure that I took down the 3 properties that I now have. I made sure that I still had my paycheck in the process of getting those financing approved, because getting financing from banks is 100 times easier when you have a paycheck than when you don't. All right. So you want to maximize the tools that you have available to you in your corporate job. Hi, Phyllis. I've just reshared the link to the workbook. Okay. So you want to maximize the tools you have available in your corporate job, okay, before you put in that resignation letter. Okay. Before you put in that resignation letter. All right. Let me go back to the identity piece. Yeah, next time I do this challenge, I will rearrange the slides, and this will be the last step. But self-awareness and identity work is non-negotiable, ladies. If you still see yourself as having to work for someone in order to be compensated, you cannot outperform that identity. Not even a resignation letter can change that for you. You have got to work on who you are being, or who you believe you need to be in order to be compensated. That's like the number one priority for you. Okay. And that's why not even just having a corporate exit strategy alone is going to work without the inner work. You got to do the inner work, ladies. And the inner work is a daily thing. It is not something you do when you remember to listen to your affirmations, and affirmations is like a tiny piece of the inner work. And in the workbook I shared with you, I have in each phase, there are sort of embodiment or identity prompts, things that you can do to continue to build your identity and who you are being with when the title is stripped away from you, when the corporate employer is stripped away from you. Because quite frankly, people will ask you, that question is going to come up a lot. So, Rebecca, who do you work for? What do you do? And that can easily trip you up if you haven't done this work. Okay. So, mindset without embodiment, it's like a spiritual bypass. This mindset work, the reason why we need to do it daily is because it needs to become our new way of thinking. That is how you embody. It is not a textbook exercise, which is how we are programmed to do things in the corporate world. It is an embodiment experience. Okay. And that's why human design is such a powerful tool. Because not only does it raise your self-awareness, it also shows you where you are operating in the shadow, in your low frequency, and where you are operating in high frequency. And being highly paid is associated with high frequency. Creating wealth is associated with high frequency. You cannot create wealth from a frequency of lack. All right? Very, very, very important. And I have a whole, I did a 7-day challenge last month in the Rich Woman Revolution radio, which I can actually share with you all the link because I know some of you might not be in that channel. So I'm going to share with you the link because I think it's such an important aspect of the work that we are doing together. Okay. So human design, self-awareness, identity work, raising your frequency, doing this mindset work daily is the real foundation for your next chapter of freedom. And then layering on the practical part, identifying your freedom number, working towards your freedom number, looking at what your options are, looking at when is an optimal exit window for you. If you have like options, maybe you have share options that you could potentially liquidate, or you could potentially, I knew someone who she was promised that if she worked for a certain number of years, she would have the option to buy shares and have a stake in the company. And it made sense for her to just wait it out. It was like 5 years. It made sense for her to just wait it out. And then she became an owner. But during those 5 years, guess what she was doing? She was building her freedom fund. All right. I know someone else who recently, I think waiting for a voluntary early retirement, or like, the company suddenly deciding to let go of certain number of people, that's more of a luck thing. But you can tell what season your organization is in. Okay. Especially if you have connections with people in HR. One of my friends, who I do, she's also a fellow coach, I had that option. Right. And she exercised her option because the company was moving to many companies, which I don't even understand why, are moving back to working in the office, which for me is like I can't even imagine going to an office every day nowadays. And so they gave the employees in her company an option to get a severance package if they didn't want to go back to a work from office arrangement. And she exercised her option there. Okay. So make sure you know what options are available to you so that you are being strategic throughout this process and you're not just being driven by emotions like, I hate this job, I really want to. No. Right, ladies, we are strategic inside of this place, which is why that corporate exit, the 50 Monday corporate exit workbook is really going to be powerful for you. Any questions, anything that you want to get clarity on? Okay, I want to talk about this slide because this is where many of the women that I have done this masterclass or a similar masterclass or who have been in my masterclasses. I've had 150 plus women in my masterclasses this year. And this is how they feel. Like after 4 days in my energy, it feels good. You feel motivated, and it's what I call informed optimism. Okay. You've had a blast, right? You've enjoyed being in this space. Tell me if you haven't, because then I haven't done my job and I would like to make things right and make sure that we end off tomorrow with a huge, huge high. And being in this space, knowing not even some of you don't even have to join live, but the fact that you know that Rebecca is going to be delivering something new and fresh, and I'm so excited, even if you're going to listen to the replay, it brings up emotions of excitement, optimism, but the masterclass is not permanent. You're going to leave this masterclass and you are going to enter this real life where there will be challenges waiting for you. You have this workbook with you, but even with this workbook, I can assure you less than 10% of the women who have joined this challenge are actually going to take that workbook and do the work, because information alone is not transformation. Like, we are living a human experience, and as humans, we need people to hold us accountable. That is why there are checks and balances in government systems. Otherwise, people would just do what they want to do when they want to do it. And we can see how even in some of the developed economies right now, that's happening. So learning is not where the transformation happens. This challenge, this masterclass is not where your transformation happens. You can have breakthroughs, you can have aha moments, but it's very easy for you to step into uninformed pessimism, right? You go back and you look at your numbers and you realize, oh my goodness, it's going to take me 3 years to achieve my freedom number. How the heck am I going to survive in this corporate job for another 3 years? Uninformed pessimism, which can easily lead into what we call the valley of despair. And when you are in despair, it's very difficult to take action. So I want you all to close this loop of emotions. I do not want you to be so excited today, and when I check in with you 3 months from now, nothing has changed. And the truth is, nothing changes if nothing changes. Excuse me. So this is what we want for you. I personally, Team Rich Woman Revolution, we want you to succeed. I want you to succeed. Okay. I do not want you to stay in uninformed pessimism. I do not want you to spiral down into the valley of despair and just have this continuous loop. The next time I do a masterclass, you get excited, you don't make any changes, you go into uninformed pessimism, then you go into inaction, and then I have another challenge, you join in, it's exciting again. Like, you do not want this to be your life. I want you to get onto a different trajectory, okay, where you have closed the emotional loop, but you have done it because you have balances and checks to keep you on track. Balances and checks that you can lean into. Even I have those moments. I'm about to go into a call right now with one of my mentors. Even I have those moments where I need to be reminded of who I am, where I'm going, why I'm here in the first place. So it is time. And I have made this super, super easy for you. Before I even talk about the future pathways, I have made this this is the easiest I have made for you. And it's because I am going into this period where I am not going to be opening the mastermind that I had initially thought I would be opening in September. So I have even had to tell the women who are on the wait list or who wanted to join that that's not going to happen. There is only one way to work with me right now, and it's in that Human Design Corporate Intensive, which is $47 until midnight today. Right. And I am only going to be taking on three long-term one-on-one clients. Sorry. One space is already taken, so there's 2 left. But there are 3 future pathways for you, regardless of me taking my time off or whatever, because there are other people you could be working with. Okay. You either continue the current path, so things just don't change. You take action. Maybe you don't achieve your big 2025 freedom goal, but you have a certain set of outcomes to celebrate. You could take massive action, and you could like knock the lights out, and December 31st, 2025, you could be on a rooftop like celebrating with champagne and all the things, right? Having achieved that big 2025 goal. The worst thing is you stay in inaction. This is the worst place you can be in. Staying in inaction or indecision. And what does this look like? I'll think about it, maybe next year. I'm not ready for it. Let me look at my options. That is inaction, that is indecision. And getting yourself from here to here, as you can see from this diagram, is so much harder than if you just made a decision that you are going to take action no matter what that looks like. And you are going to put yourself in places where you are held accountable, and someone else can mirror for you where it is you are going, who you are, and what it is that you have committed to yourself. If you don't have those checks and balances in place, I want you to seriously question whether this corporate exit is a priority for you or whether this is a someday wish or hope. I know in my sort of fitness life, I have these checks and balances. I have a trainer. Do you think I would be waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning to go to the gym, especially now in winter when it's so freaking cold? I would rather just sleep an extra 2 hours. And if your fitness, your bodily fitness is important to you, if you are paying for a gym, this is more important. This is more important because this is going to dictate where you are going to be, the conversations I am going to be having with you a year from now, 3 years from now, 5 years from now. And the best way to audit which pathway you have been on is look at where you were 3 years ago, what your goals were at that time, and where you are now. Today can be that day that you write the line in the sand and you're like, okay, I'm done. I'm done with this BS of like telling myself I'll do it next year. I'll think about it, and I am ready to go all the way in. So if you want to become that version of you that we casted a vision on day one, the version of you who is living in financial freedom, you gotta be her now. It doesn't start with having more money in your bank account. It starts with being her now. The decisions you are making, even today after this masterclass, are they in alignment with your future self? Or are you just recreating the same results you've created over the last 5 years in your life? That decision is yours. So ladies, you could stay on the slow 30-year path, which most corporate professionals are on. Like, people hate to admit, but most people are on the 65-year retirement plan, where they're going to unfortunately have to wait until they're 65 to start living their life, going on those sea cruises, and then waiting for death, waiting for weekends to live their life, being at the mercy of a paycheck, of a boss, of a corporate employer. I know that that's not the life you want because you are still here listening to me talk about your future pathways. Or you could draw the line in the sand and choose the accelerated path to freedom. And I have used the word accelerated instead of a specific timeline because guess who decides the timelines? It's not me. I don't dictate, even if you work with me and you're like, Rebecca, how long is it going to take for me to replace my income? Guess what I'm going to tell you? You tell me. You tell me how much work you want to put into this path to freedom, and I will hold you accountable to it. I will hold up the mirror and I will keep reminding you of what you said you want to achieve. And I will give you the guidance. I will show you the blueprint. I will make it as customized for you as possible. But you are the one who decides how fast you want to go. Not me. No one else can dictate that for you. Anyone who says they can tell you when you're going to be free, like run away from that person. You're the one who decides. So it is decision time, ladies. Again, I am like, I can't believe I've just done this entire pep talk to invite you to be my client for a $47 investment, because I usually do that when I am selling $2,000 packages. But I realize that for corporate women, even something as small as $47 can feel so overwhelming because you have been accustomed to your employer paying for your personal development. Okay, I think I've said enough. I don't think I need to say anything more. I'm going to drop the link once again. And the coupon code MyExit, make sure you use the coupon code MyExit at the checkout when you are ready to book your intensive. And like I said, that coupon expires tonight, okay? So $47 to map out your exact corporate exit path with your personalized human design incorporated into it. Like, I don't know what else feels like Christmas if that doesn't feel like Christmas. All right, ladies, I need to head out. I have a call with my coach, which actually it's a group call. It started about 15 minutes ago. So tomorrow, we are going to be talking about one of my favorite topics, which is wealth creation, and why it is so important that even as you map out your corporate exit, you're not just thinking income, money, you are also thinking wealth, because that's the ultimate freedom. And then I'm going to open it up to Q&A. So if you did your human design test and you want me to give you a few pointers on what are some of the things that I would be thinking about based on your human design, come tomorrow, nice and ready at 4 p.m. East African time, 1 p.m. GMT time, 9 a.m. EST time, or New York time, and I will personally give you one or two things that you can start to look at in your human design to help you make more aligned decisions on your journey to corporate liberation, on your journey to financial freedom. So it's going to be a powerful one. I cannot wait to see you all in here. Make sure you click the link to the 50 Monday Corporate Exit Planning Workbook, because once I close this Zoom session, you will not have access to it anymore. All right, ladies, I will see you tomorrow for the grand finale. Bye, everyone.